Joe Biden's son, Ukraine, energy board.
Yeah, that's really bad. I don't know, or actually, it's not really. I don't know how bad it is. It looks really bad, and I think the Trump campaign's realized that and has pounced on it. But I think that's all over. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Every politician is getting kickbacks from companies for,
100%.
Which is horrible.
And like, I think that Trump has room to talk because he self-funded his campaign. He didn't have like big donors.
Yeah.
But like some of these other political people on the right that are saying like, blah blah blah, this is corrupt, this is illegal, you got him that job. It's like, you guys are just as corrupt. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys are definitely just as bad.
Yeah. And I mean, it's my go-to example of this is Hillary Clinton giving a speech at Goldman Sachs for $1 million.
Not real.
There's no one's time speaking is worth $1 million, especially a politician. There's no other explanation other than just a bribe for, you're going to look out for us once you're in office. And it kind of backfired because she didn't get in office, so they wasted $1 million. But they all do that. They all do stuff like that. And once you're not a president anymore, or once you're not a senator, you get on boards of companies, and you use your connections in politics to help those companies, and it's just, that whole thing is corrupt.
It's just weird. And there's been like people that have tried to bring legislation forward, like you can't serve on a board 2 years or 3 years after being a senator and stuff like that, and none of them ever pass. Well, it's like,
because why would senators pass a
right
law that would
but it just seems like
run?
And this is what I'm talking about when like I say the media is corrupt, because like there's no reporting on like those bills dying. Like, I've heard about those bills getting introduced, and like there's no reporting on like corruption or the political donations of certain candidates. It's because like the establishment is all like one cohesive unit, and if one part falls apart, the other part is gonna fall apart.
Yeah, they're all, everything's connected, everything's corrupt, so you can't take down one portion of the corrupt organization without taking down the rest of it. And so it doesn't benefit anybody to work besides the American people who don't have the means or the motivation really to go after that.
Dude, can you believe that if Joe Biden wins, the face of the Democratic Party will be Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden?
People
can you
that
believe
have been
that?
in office for a combined, I mean, altogether it's over a century, right? Right? I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's got to be somewhere around there.
It's scary, dude. That's the face of the Democratic Party. That's the face of what is becoming an otherwise very progressive party. Is Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, who introduced the
crime bill.
The crime bill. He advocated for us going into Iraq.
He supported like segregated busing or whatever that's called, whatever Kamala called him out for in the debate.
That's another thing that shocks me about the Kamala Harris
Dude,
nomination.
She burned him.
She went after him about everything. The sexual assault allegations, the Tara Reid. She said, I believe all those allegations, the allegations of inappropriate like interactions with Joe Biden. She said, I believe all of that. I think all of that happened. And then as soon as he offers her the VP spot, she turns around and says, I don't know. Those don't seem credible to me. Shocking.
Did you see the video they made? Did you see the video they made with like Kamala Harris accepting Joe Biden's
I didn't see it.
ass?
I just saw the tweets.
Oh, shoot. You've got to watch that video. So he calls her and he's like, Kamala, you got a minute? And she's like, yeah, Joe, sorry to keep you waiting. And like the most put together sketch you've ever seen. And it's like supposed to be real. And he goes, you ready to go to work? And she goes, I am so ready to go to work, Joe.
It's like if they did an SNL skit of that.
It really was. I've never seen something more put together. Like Like, he was 100% looking at a script that whole time.
Oh, that's so funny. Would have messed up the words if he hadn't been looking at a script. Yeah. That hypocrisy, and it happens, I mean, it happens all over. Like, that's what having the primary election within a party and then a general election does, is you get the candidates attacking each other within the party for all these different faults, and then it all gets dropped. No one talks about it afterwards, and it's shocking that they can go from, 3 months ago, just blasting Biden about things, to now, okay, I don't remember that anymore. That doesn't matter. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's just funny that, because if you were to think of Joe Biden in his prime and like Kamala Harris right now in her prime, they probably have very similar policy positions. Like, Kamala Harris is way more progressive, quote unquote, like on certain issues. But I think a lot of that is all talk. Even though I will say she does vote with Bernie on like 70 or 80% of issues.
70% of her Senate votes. But I don't know how difficult, as partisan as things have become, I don't know how difficult Senate votes have been to vote against people in your own party. I don't know, and that might just be a lack of knowledge about that process, but I feel like I would like to see how often votes were down party lines. And so those don't really count.
Right.
But no, I agree. It is, her voting has been more consistent with Bernie's. I think what's crazy to me about that, Joe Biden picking her as his running mate, is we've just had 3 months of protests about police brutality, and then the Democratic Party goes and picks a cop to be.
Yeah. And Joe Biden. Joe Biden is literally the one that made the worst crime bill in American history. Really, pretty close. I mean, obviously there's stuff in like the 1850s and like 1960s.
Yeah, but in modern American history.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
This is what I'm talking about. The Democratic Party is out of touch. They're out of touch, and they will not get back in touch for years. I bet you next election, there's no way that they choose a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren. I don't think they will.
I think a lot of that depends on how November goes. I think if Trump wins, I've heard talks that the super far left, like progressive wing of the Democratic Party, wants Trump to win because they think that it'll push everyone just way further left, and so that would benefit them. So I don't know. Maybe if Trump wins, that serves that purpose and pushes everyone further left, and you get a Bernie Sanders, an AOC type person running for president and maybe winning. But I'm kind of with you. I don't really see that happening.
Yeah, it should have happened this election. I still hold that Bernie Sanders would have had a better chance against Trump than Biden, especially now with like what everyone has seen with Biden. And he's incapable of forming complete thoughts most of the time. He doesn't know where he is. Like, these are
he doesn't
these
go
are
out
all
in
real
public.
Concerns.
He
These are all like real
public.
concerns. And dude, those debates are going to be something else.
Well, I heard, the first debate is scheduled to take place after 16 states have already voted. 16 states will have already voted before we see a debate between Trump and Biden, because since everything's going to be mail-in, all those votes will already be in, or most of the votes will already be in before the debate even happens. And I think that works to Biden's advantage, and that's why Trump's campaign has been pushing for more debates.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's really telling when your presidential candidate won't debate the other presidential candidate, and would much rather, I think they'd much rather not do any debates.
Right.
Except for Kamala Harris and Pence. They'd be more than happy
to
have those vice presidential
they're debating
debates.
in Salt Lake.
Yeah, it's too bad. I would go if they were going to have crowds, but
there's no crowds.
I'm sure with coronavirus there won't be any crowds.
Even in Utah, you think?
I don't think so, because I think it's more of a national scale. I don't think that would look good for anyone to have crowds. But yeah, I would go if there wasn't going to be crowds. That would be interesting to see, because I think as much as I don't like Kamala Harris, she would probably wipe the floor with Mike Pence.
Mike Pence is not a good debater.
He was an appeal to kind of just regular conservatives that didn't get on the Trump bandwagon, I think, is why he was on the ticket. But he doesn't have any skills as a debater. And he's just
not like, he's just not a character. Like, he's just not. He's like, when you think, like, he's just not a. When you think of Mike Pence, you don't think of, oh, that guy is really something. You just think, oh, Mike Pence, senator.
And it's funny because in an age where, I mean, cults of personality and kind of big characters are dominating, it's funny that Mike Pence is just this kind of random dude that, I mean, not many people care much about. And so, yeah, that's kind of funny.